Hello, everyone. It's Father Mark again, and we're going to continue talking about spiritual friendship. And we've kind of laid that foundation of what we need to do to have spiritual friendships. We need to recognize God's plan for us in our lives, where God, how God, and who God is calling us to be. And then once we recognize that plan, or at least begin to participate in that plan, then we set goals along the way, just like would have school goals or work goals, educational goals. Those spiritual goals are also part of who we are, where we begin to enter into love, to obedience, companionship, sacrifice in that journey to the call to holiness. And along the way, we meet and begin to know other people that have that same calling, have that same direction, somehow make us the better person. So today we might talk about who and what are our spiritual friends. So for instance, a spiritual friend. When I went to seminary, I've been a priest now for 15 years, so it was 20 years ago I went to the seminary. I met another seminarian. His name was Ron Zanoni. He's now Father Ron Zanoni of the Diocese of Las Vegas. And in some ways, we became spiritual friends. We were both a little older going into seminary, but we journeyed along together through our 5 years of formation, not necessarily as bosom buddies, but as men who could share feelings and thoughts with each other, where we could challenge each other to be better, where we challenge each other to let go of those things that were holding us back. And in many ways, that's what a spiritual friend does, right? They have a deep love for God and for the other, right? They guard that love, and they don't allow corruption to enter into that, right? They don't allow the ego or the will to somehow to dominate, but rather to enter into a egalitarian, that agape love that we all search for. And in that person, then we begin to see that other self, right? We don't see ourselves, but we see the other self as valuable, as holy, as someone to be cared for. And that person then has that positive effect of calling the very best out of me that I can be. So, spiritual friendship. Who can they be? Well, they can be a friend. Someone asked me, can they be my biological sister? And of course they can, if they fit those criterias. If we are able to sit down and be the very best of who we are with them, and they call forth the very best of us. In fact, during this coronavirus, many parents have commented on the fact that their children are becoming friends. Right? Rather than being scattered and being pulled apart in many different directions, because they are spending time with each other, because they must learn to talk with each other. They're becoming friends. Now, are they becoming spiritual friends? Well, we can talk about it later, but it is that joining together in the love of who we are. And so a spiritual friendship begins to draw the very best out of us. So we begin to look at, in our relationships with those people around us, who are those that seem to draw the very best from us? Who are those who we wish to draw the very, very best out of? Who are those that we seek to love and to bring the very best out of them, their love, where we begin to see their very self, in many ways, like we say, with the eyes of God, that have that very positive effect on us, right? Where they incite us, where they bring us to prayer, where they comfort us when we're hurt, and they encourage us when we are needing that encouragement. All those things are markers of a good spiritual friendship, but it really is where we can share the very depth of who we are, especially in union with God, with others. Because one of the things we remind ourselves of all the time, right? God sends us out not alone, but with others. Jesus sent his disciples out 2 by 2. In the Acts of the Apostles, we hear it again and again and again, where the disciples go out together to share the good news, never alone, but to do it together. And so we might ask, as our author does at the end of the first chapter, like, what elevated the friendship? If you say, this person is my spiritual friend, what elevated it? Name it, be able to give God thanks for it, be able to lift it up in prayer. And what do I then do to contribute to the other's well-being? Because once again, that goes back to that guardian of love, right? Making sure that I'm not simply taking, but I choose to give into the relationship too, to share myself, the gifts that God has given to me. So that'll end our first chapter. I would really encourage you, if you haven't had a chance, to please pick up the book, Walking Together, Discovering the Catholic Tradition of Spiritual Friendship by Mary de Torres Post. Not a German name. So anyways, that'll be the little talk for today. We'll start chapter 2, looking at some of the other things, especially that acceptance of the unconditional love in a conditional world. That's the title of the second chapter. God bless you. Keep safe, keep holy, and remain in the presence of God. Amen. Pray for me. I am praying for you.